Hey everyone, Mike here with Electrek, and today we're reviewing the Firduo electric bodyboard. Let's check it out.
I'm not really sure how to describe this thing. It's not a bodyboard in the traditional cheap styrofoam board way. It's like a little electric tugboat with a 720 watt-hour battery, a soft foam surface, and a pair of 2,000 watt motors, putting out 4 kilowatts of power, and a thrust of about 75 pounds or 35 kilos. It's extremely buoyant, though it's got about 1 million warning labels warning that this is not a life-saving device. Of course, that only further fuels my desire to throw on the red swim trunks and live out my own Baywatch lifeguarding fantasy. Whoops, sorry, got a little lost in the fantasy there. Where was I? Oh right, the Firduo review. Yeah, so anyways, this little electric bodyboard is basically meant to be a fun, recreational sea toy, though you can use it pretty much anywhere. I actually started in a swimming pool just to make sure I got the hang of it and that I didn't find myself drifting off to sea while trying to figure out the controls the first time. It's actually quite powerful, and so it's tricky to get it up to top speed in a swimming pool because you don't have much room to turn and run. It can also travel both on the surface of the water or down below the surface, but again, you'll want some room to run, and so a larger pool or the open ocean are probably preferable. It's highly buoyant, so to get it to dive, you really need to push on the bow and force it down. Once you get a foot or two under the water, it's pretty easy to keep it down with a gentle forward angle. I also found that it's easier to control it if you choke up on the device and pull it into your chest. When you're dangling out behind it, it's a fun ride, but it's also harder to steer that way. When you hold it into your chest, your body leans it like it's part of you, and it just makes it easier to steer and control. There is one weird thing about the Firduo, and that is that the battery compartment is designed to flood with water. It's fine since the battery and the connectors are all IP68 rated, and the entire thing can dive to depths of 30 meters or 100 feet. But it also means you get around 10 to 20 extra pounds of water in there that adds to the device's 35 pound or 16 kilogram weight. That makes it even heavier to drag out of the water, and it takes about a minute for all of that water to drain out of the weep holes in the battery compartment, and then it goes back to its normal medium weight self. The Firduo is still extremely buoyant even with the battery compartment full of water, so really the only thing it affects is the extra weight when you're lugging it out of the water immediately after use. The Firduo is obviously meant for recreation. No one is going to commute to work on something like this, and so it's fun to see that they built in a GoPro mount. I added an extension to my GoPro, and I was able to film myself over the gunnel, or you could flip it around and film whatever you're seeing on your rides. For most people though, the real fun just comes from the experience, and that is a serious blast. It's super easy to use, really anyone can do it. I've ridden electric surfboards in the past, and they're fun, but they have a bit of a learning curve. With the Firduo, you just hang onto the handles and pull the trigger, that's it. It's super easy and it's tons of fun. You can even choose between low, medium, and high modes to start off gentle while you're getting used to it, and then rip in full power mode once you're ready. I pretty much only used high power mode, and it is an absolute blast. You get up to around 6 or 7 miles an hour, or about 10 to 12 kilometers per hour, or I guess 4 to 6 knots if we want to get all nautical here. That might not sound like much, 6-7 miles an hour, but it feels pretty darn fast when you're being dragged across the surface of the water or through it. The main downside to the Firduo that I can find is really just the battery life. There's a 48 volt and 15 amp hour battery inside the device that you can pull out for charging or storage. They say it gets 60 to 120 minutes of runtime, but I got more like 25 or 30 minutes of runtime while using exclusively high power mode. If you have the self-control to use low or medium power, maybe you'll get the full 60 to 120 minutes, but I just have too much fun in high power mode to hold back. You could always get a second or third battery to stretch out your runtime, or you could carry a battery generator to the beach and charge right there. It's a bit annoying waiting for the charge, so a second battery is probably a good idea. By this point, you're probably wondering the price. This little pleasure yacht costs 1,900 big ones at its current sale price. If you were looking for a pool toy, that's a serious investment. But if you compare it to electric surfboards that cost between $10,000 to $25,000, suddenly 1,900 bucks sounds a lot more doable. Obviously, this is not an impulse buy, but if you spend a lot of time at the beach or lake and want a fun toy for exploring above and below the water, I definitely recommend the Firduo. It feels well made, and it is so much fun that I don't want to have to give it back.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that review of the Firduo electric bodyboard. If you did, why don't you give this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.
All she said to them was